Okay, so our ESPN forecast panel put together the percent chance that these big free agents will go to different places, and they have the Warriors as the favorite. 40% chance he re-signs there, 30% Nets, and 30% Knicks. Let's come out and talk about this. Jalen Rose, that 40% chance that he re-signs with Golden State takes into account, obviously, that he can sign for the Supermax, so that's $57 million more dollars, and the Warriors then could work with him to trade him to a place that he wants to go. Do you like that option for Kevin Durant?
I do not like that option for Kevin Durant. I do like the percentages, 40% for the Warriors and 30-30 for the Nets and Knicks. Here's why. Because if you're going to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors, that means they control your rights. Just because you tell them that you want to get traded to the Nets or the Knicks, what if they don't think that that's a viable trade partner? Also, how are you going to recruit players to come play with you in one of those new destinations when you're still the property of the Golden State Warriors? It just doesn't work like that. If he decides to leave, you just got to up and leave and understand that you're going to make the money back up later in your career.
Let me clarify also that Brian Windhorst said earlier this morning one of the reasons the Warriors would like to do that is while they're not necessarily going to get a star back in return, they would get what's called a trade exception, and that would open up a bunch of cap space for them and the opportunity to go out and sign someone else. So that's why they would be incentivized to do something like this. What do you think, Jay, as far as that relationship and the notion he might leave it in their hands to trade him where he wants to go?
I agree with what Jay Rose is saying, but every individual is different. Everybody has their own subjectivity. So my thing is, if $57 million being left on the plate, if that's a big thing for him, then he has to take that into consideration. Personally, my own opinion is that I think there are other scenarios out there that are different for him. We went through the pros and cons about, is it going to be Steph's team? Is it Kevin Durant's? That's something that's going to follow him for the rest of his career if he stays there, regardless of whether they win championships or not. So if Kevin Durant wants something of his own, I think you find that other places other than Golden State.
It's so interesting. I feel like what he did this year changed the narrative on him so much. I think even his biggest detractors respect the heck out of the fact that he went out there, that he put himself on the line the way he did, that he literally left it on the court the way he did for that team and that franchise, regardless of how it ends here. I feel like he rewrote that narrative a little bit.
I feel like that's always been a narrative for who KD is. He's always been the ultimate competitor.
I get it, but the feeling on him was that he went there. He joined up. He couldn't beat him, so he joined him. And I think
that was the same with LeBron, though, when LeBron went to Miami, correct? I know Miami didn't win 73 games, but LeBron still did go join Chris Bosh and D Wade, right? And that narrative has changed over time. I think all these guys to a certain degree, and Jay Rose, I would love to hear your opinion on this. It's like when Kevin only went to college for 1 year, LeBron did not. But when you don't have a chance to be with a winning franchise and understand how that feels, the OKC scenario was different with him and Russell Westbrook.
Right.
I think every player wants to feel like, oh, this is what it feels like to be in a championship-like culture, and then potentially you could take that and move that else to another place.
Yeah, he sort of made that, like when LeBron referred to those 4 years in Miami, it's almost like his college. Yes. And now he goes on. All right, Jalen, the next one is Kawhi Leonard. Our panel put together the percent chances here, and this one is really simple if you look at it. A 67% chance he stays in Toronto, a 33% chance he goes and signs with his hometown Los Angeles Clippers. Jalen, what do you make of that? He would have two options with the Raptors as well. One of them would be to get the Supermax. The other would be to do something like a 1-and-1.
I'm going to give you the number one reason why I feel like Kawhi should and will stay with the Toronto Raptors. Your two favorite words, load management. If he's playing in the Western Conference, I don't care what team he joins. If he misses over 20 games, they will not be a number 2 seed. In the East, you're able to do that. So the doctors kept him healthy. Number 2, also playing in the East, you're a legitimate contender to actually win the conference again. So for a player like Kawhi, who isn't seeking necessarily the limelight, I don't believe you go to Los Angeles when they just acquired Anthony Davis to play with LeBron James and be the B team in the Staples Center. I just don't think the timing works out for him to go to the Clippers this summer.
But how nice would it be, though? You talk about like a reinvention of the bad boys. Jalen, like think about Montrezl Harrell. Think about they're able to get, Patrick Beverley to sign back, Lou Will, all these different guys walking on the court with Kawhi Leonard. Like that would be one of the most bad teams there is in all of basketball. I hear all the points that he's making about there's a nation behind you as opposed to being, 1B in LA. But that team in general, like that, those are the Roughnecks of the NBA.
Jalen, let me ask you, it's a basketball question. I'm a basketball fan. If he wants to win a championship next year, does he have a better chance of doing it with the Clippers or the Raptors?
In the Eastern
Raptors.
Conference. In the Eastern Conference. Again, load management. And Kawhi Leonard played 9 games the previous season. And Adam Silver talked about this on our program. It was almost like recovery for him this year. And then they ultimately win the championship. The path in the East has least resistance than the one in the West.
Okay, as one more thing I want to get you guys' reaction to, and we'll call it a Meanwhile on Planet Earth, because this was interesting. Yesterday on Colin Cowherd's show, Enes Kanter was a guest on the program, and he was asked about the newest Pelican, Zion Williamson, and he said, quote, "I kind of feel like he's overhyped. I kind of feel like he's Julius Randle with hops." Well, Julius Randle saw that and took exception and went on Twitter and reminded him that the last time the two played against each other, he scored 45 points. He tweeted, "Yo, Enes Kanter, last time you guarded me, I had 45. Relax, bro. LOL." And A, that's funny, and I'm here for a Twitter beef anytime. But more importantly, Jalen, you're the one who brought up that Julius Randle in New Orleans, in the role that Zion is sort of stepping into, put up big numbers last year. People don't ever talk about Julius Randle as a productive player, which on the offensive side of the floor, he very much is in the NBA. What do you think of this with him and Kanter?
I think the part that Julius Randle took offense to was he started it by saying overhyped. Julius Randle has made himself into a really productive NBA player. So much so, the exact points and rebounds that Zion averaged in college, Julius Randle averaged this year in the NBA. And all of a sudden, you get the number 1 overall pick, and you get a chance to put him into that position so that he can try to duplicate those statistics. But here's where Zion is on another level than most NBA players. And I'm saying this right now. His ability to affect the game defensively. He's going to be blocking shots. He's going to be getting steals. He's going to be diving on the floor for loose balls. He's going to be guarding multiple positions. That level of impact is going to be game-changing for what Zion Williamson is able to bring to the table.
Can I change the question to you a little bit, Jay Will, here, as one who's been around him? Is what you're hearing from Kanter here a little bit of an indication of what Zion can expect in the NBA? While
1,000%.
the fans are ready to embrace and love him, are NBA players wary of all of this hype and are going to want to take him
There's
down?
a massive target on his back because of all the attention he's gotten throughout the year. I will say this about Enes Kanter. That's the dumbest comment I've ever heard.
Tell me what.
Dumb. And I know he's on a high right now because Portland got to the Western Conference Finals and he did his thing to a certain degree. I hear all that. But, like, fine. If he's going to be a hyped-up version of Julius Randle averaged 21 and 9. So a more athletic version of that way, he gets you 27 and 13, 14, great. He'll be that all day long. That's called a supermax player in the league.
Jalen, you like the Twitter beef? Do you enjoy the Twitter beef between NBA players?
I love the Twitter beef, and I agree with Jay Williams as it relates to Kanter's role in this. I've said many times, while he's going to get you points and offensive rebounds, he can't guard a graveyard. And Julius Randle made sure he acknowledged that in his response. Not mad at it at all.
All right, Jalen Rose, finish up your business out there. Get back here because we need your free agency starts.
Let's go, J. Rose.
I'll be back tomorrow.
This weekend.
Let's go,
Excellent.
baby.
We will see you here tomorrow, and obviously we'll be here all of next week as we take you through all the events that will reshape the NBA. Here's what's on tomorrow morning's Get Up menu. Sneaky big moves that could and will take place during NBA free agency and what they mean. Should the Sixers be fighting to keep Jimmy Butler, and how Kevin Durant could prevent your team from signing a star. Get Up, 8 Eastern on ESPN.
I switched to Liberty Mutual because they let me